So we invite now question from any participant, either by raising the hand or chat or typing in the chat. Questions can be on the last 3 talks we heard on RIS-NIRPs and DPR, or even on any less specific proposal preparation topic you might have. Yes, so question on DPR. So the proposal goes through DPR if the requested time is less than 16 hours, which is correct. What about the joint proposals? Does the total requested time VLT plus ALMA needs to be less than 16 hours or just the VLT request?
No, I think, as I said in my first presentation, at ISO, the joint programs by construction go only to the panels, is irrespective of the amount of requested time. This is a matter of policy and of internal policy, and the same is happening for XMM. So it doesn't really matter how much time you request on ISO or ALMA. The joint proposal will always be seen by the panels. At ALMA, it's different. They will all go through DPR. So the two systems are not symmetric in that respect, as Anna said.
Any other question? Yes, 1 second, Silvano. Yes, you can unmute and ask.
Yes, just for Nando. Can you provide some more detail on how the average is done in the distributed peer review? For example, in case of strong outliers in the grading. I share the opinion that the feedback is much better. So I found really useful for my proposal, and also when reviewing the proposal, I found a very close match in with my scientific expertise. But this also means that you can be so close that you are reviewing a proposal for which you submitted a proposal for another instrument or something like that. So there can be conflicts and so on. So how this is handled.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Silvano, for the question. So first, about the outliers. So we decided, at least in the current implementation, that there is no rejection of grades. So because we don't do that in the panels as well. Now you may argue that the panels have discussions, and therefore these outliers during the discussion, they are somehow taken out. On the other hand, DPR has a factor of 2 more grades, and therefore this would probably enable the possibility of doing a semi-automatic rejection, maybe semi-supervised. We have not put that in yet. We are monitoring the thing. This may happen. Also, we are studying different ways of combining the grades, following most recent prescriptions from experts. The second thing about the conflicts and the fact that, you may be reviewing a proposal which is too close to you. Of course, on this we rely on which may be wrong, but I don't think there is a solution, that we rely on the honesty of the applicants. Each of you has the opportunity of declaring a conflict, even in DPR, in the same way as they do in the panels. And basically, since they are anonymized, typically the type of conflicts that we get is exactly what you say. I am a competitor, I am a strong competitor, I have a similar proposal. If people don't do that, then we have a problem. What we are monitoring, we have not done that yet systematically, but this is in the plans, is that we can monitor the performance and the systematics of each of the reviewers with respect to their own scientific categories, to see whether they have a systematic attitude in favor or against proposals which are close to their area. Now, in the current implementation, we really do this. Each proposal is measured, the similarity is measured against all possible reviewers in the pool, and then a ranking list is compiled, and then there is an optimization algorithm which goes from the top to the bottom. So we believe we are allocating the proposal to people that are closer to the specific case. This is not necessarily the best thing to do when we are considering actually to have a controlled way by which we also have reviewers which are not actually self-declared non-experts in the field, which is gonna, we're gonna see whether this produces any difference. What I can say at this point, and we have statistical evidence for that, is that in the cases in which the reviewers declare they are non-experts with respect to that specific proposal, the quality of their feedback is not worse as judged by the PI than those provided that by people who said they are experts on the specific case, which is an interesting thing, also indicated that yet indeed having non-experts may add to the picture in a better way. I'm sure this doesn't address fully your concern, Silvano, but to make it short, we are working on that and we are collecting data to see whether we can find any signs of systematics.
Okay, thanks.
There is room for other questions. Annalisa, yes?
Hi, it's Annalisa De Cia here. I have a question for Harald on Eris. So my question is, so I know on P1 when the user is applying for time and then setting a configuration of his or her proposal. For Eris, there's a number of configurations. There's like many configurations, so many modes, and in some of them, not all the configurations are allowed or offered. So could you perhaps comment for the to help the user on where is the best place to look for what configurations are offered or not?
Well, I think for the normal imaging and normal use of the IFU is pretty clear. Very simple. Are you referring to the coronographic modes or what?
To the NICs. To the NICs, for example, the NICs imaging mode. That's like for example, for the pupil wheel, things like spider or blocking are not allowed. Like I know on the manual, there's places where there's like tables, perhaps where these configurations are described. Could you comment on that to help the user?
First place is to look for the manual, and I think it should be pretty clear afterwards. Now, if you talk about the pupil wheel, this is more related to the coronographic modes. Normal imaging is only the filter, so there is no controversy, I would say. But I don't know, you may mean probably coronographic modes. I'm not sure about your background, so maybe I'm missing the point. There are definitely many modes you can use, and only a few which you can't. And maybe Lowell has something to say on that. Lowell, you have to switch your microphone on.
I know exactly what she's asking about. There are certain combinations of when you specify, there's three things you have to specify. There's a filter wheel, a camera wheel, and a pupil wheel. And there are certain combinations of those which, unfortunately, because of the way that the P1 software is implemented, are kind of dead ends. So you can select a pupil, but then you can't select a filter. And so it looks like you can't, and in fact, that's correct, because there are certain pupil wheel settings for which you are not allowed to submit a proposal. Therefore, you should not be allowed to associate a particular, a correct, if you will, filter to it, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all done with the best of intentions, but unfortunately, it's not terribly user-friendly often. So if you find yourself in a situation where you need to specify a filter, but you're not given a choice of filters to specify, then something else is wrong. So you have to back up, so to speak, and unselect a pupil wheel pupil wheel setting and go again forward from there. Does that make sense? It's purely an implementation issue, and we know it's not the most user friendly on the planet. We'll do what we can to fix it in future periods, but for now, there's no good solution.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
So there are more questions from